we've created a variety of different swatches, let's start to put these to use. I'm going to drag off my swatches panel, close out everything else, and let's go up to View, and let's fit the page to the window so I can see everything as I work on it. I'm also going to go to View and change my screen mode to be normal view so I can see all of my edges as well. Alright, with my selection tool, click on the white area of the background, and all this is just one large rectangle that's filled into the back. If you go to your swatches panel, you'll note that the fill color swatch is set to white and the stroke color is set to be none. Let's make sure the fill color is brought to the foreground, and you can see it's set to paper. And we want to change this to the green swatch that we created that has the CMYK value of 65. You can see that it's nice and bright and fills up the whole thing. If we want to tone it down just a bit, we can create a tint of it by changing our tint slider at the top of the swatches panel, bringing it down to be about 40% from here. That looks really good. Let's click on the Urban Oasis Garden box down here. Again, you can see that the fill color is set to paper, which is white. You can also see that I'm going to be formatting the contents of the container, not the text itself. This time we'll click on this lemony yellow, and you can see how it's highlighted from this. You can also apply color swatches by simply dragging them onto whatever you want to colorize. First, I'm going to make sure nothing is selected, so I've deselected this by clicking on the pasteboard. Then you can choose the pink area, or the pink CMYK color, and drag it and drop it on top of the 75 color box. Finally, let's click on the Orchid Clinic options at the very top, and since this is actually a graphic, you can see it's black, let's turn it to that CF color that's at the top as well too. Again, deselect everything once you've applied the color so that you don't accidentally apply colors to other things as well too. Now, in addition to changing colors in your swatches panel, of course you've got the ability to change colors up here in your control panel too. Let's click on the line that we have that's just above the date and time. And since this is the stroke panel, we can click on the options here. And let's change this one to be the blue color that we created with a CMYK of 90. We'll do the same to this orchid down here at the very bottom. Clicking on the frame itself and not the content, but not the grabber, but we actually want the frame selected. In the swatches panel, do make sure that your stroke outline is on top before selecting the blue for it. Now, if you want to change the color of text, typically it's a good idea to use your type tool. Let's select our type tool, and in our case, we're going to highlight the Monday through 7 to 10 p.m. text in the very center. With it highlighted, notice in your swatches panel that you have a T indicating that you're going to be changing the color of the text that's selected. With that done, we can change that to dark green. Let's do the same for the other text. I'll place my cursor right here at the beginning of Grow, Maintain, Rebloom. If you hit Command A, that'll select all of it, and now I can change that to dark green. Or for Urban Oasis Gardens, I can triple click 1, 2, 3, and that'll select all of it, and let's turn that dark green as well. A final place you can change your colors is of course in your Properties panel. Let's open it up by going to Window, down to Properties. Whenever you have something selected, so in our case, let's select the $75 down at the bottom. In the Properties panel, you can see it has an appearance that has a fill and a stroke for that particular text. Let's change this fill color to be the green that we created. Whoops, excuse me, there we go, dark green. But let's give it a stroke outline by clicking on the stroke color swatch of being blue. We'll keep it at the 1 point value to give it an outline for this. Now when I deselect it, you can see it's got a green stroke that's created for it. I do see I made one slight mistake. One more time, I'm going to highlight it. Instead of it being the dark green, let's choose that new light green that we created. Now when I deselect it, the 75 shows up much easier. With all this recoloring done, I'm going to choose my selection tool, my black arrow, Deselect everything by clicking on the pasteboard, and I'm going to take some time to go to File and save what we're working on. Now, recolorizing things can get kind of tedious. Sometimes you want to be able to quickly recolorize things by finding and searching for a specific color and changing that color. InDesign gives you the ability to do this. Let's use our selection tool to select the line in the center of our document, the blue one that we just colorized. Make sure your swatches panel is open. If you wanted to search for this blue line, you can click on the options for the swatches panel. Whoop, there it is. And down towards the middle, choose Find This Color. With this done, if it gives you a tooltip, you can simply say OK to ignore it. You can see in the dialog box that the blue color we had selected has already been highlighted, so we're going to keep everything under the Find selected to be the same. And we want to change every instance of that color to be a different color. So let's choose the change color to be the new dark green. This is going to search the entire document in all of the frames, and we're going to choose Change All. It'll find 3 instances of where we've used this, and since we had the preview turned on, you can see how it's changing it on our document as well. We'll say OK to this, and we'll say Done. And you can see now every instance of where that blue color was used has now been changed to the dark green. Now I think the pink that we used on the 75 down at the bottom is a little bit too bright. Let's create a tint version of that pink. First, make sure nothing is selected by clicking on your pasteboard. Then inside of your document, choose the pink that we applied, go up to the options, and let's choose to create a new tint swatch. This will have the pink version that we created already selected and saved on it. And let's bring it down to be about 65%. We'll click Add, and that adds a 65% version of it already selected for our design. We'll hit Done. To apply this, let's select our frame. Make sure the fill swatch is in the front, and then choose the new pink, the lighter version that we created to apply it to there. Finally, let's create a gradient swatch. Gradients give you the ability to blend together 2 or more different colors in either a linear or a radiant fashion. In your swatches panel, click on the options. Let's create a new gradient swatch. Inside of here, we're going to call this pink to yellow. The style that we're going to use is going to be linear, and the stop colors can be found down here. These will give you the ability to change or to show what colors that we're blending together. Right now I've got the blue selected, and when I click on the little color swatch down here, you can see how it highlights the CMYK values. We want to be able to choose the stop colors that we've already created. So click on CMYK and choose swatches. And then from here, I can select the pink that we've created. So let's choose this one. Then click on the white, and let's choose the yellow that we created. So now it's going from pink to yellow. We can set this pink field to be at a ramp location of 5%. Let's set the yellow location to be at 70. Now with it done, we can say OK, and you can see we've got a new pink to yellow gradient swatch created. Let's apply this new one to our Grow Maintain box. With the Grow Maintain box selected, make sure your fill color is selected, then choose pink to yellow. Now if you want to change the direction that your gradient is going, let's use the Gradient tool. Gradient tool is found towards the bottom of your toolbox. And with this selected, you can click and drag the direction you want it to go. So in this case, I can go from a corner to corner, side to side, or I can click the top and go down. And I like that, so we're going to keep it at that. Now the last thing we need to do with our swatches is to group them together so that they're easily more manageable. Inside of your swatches panel, first make sure nothing is selected. So I've clicked off on my pasteboard. Click on the swatch options, and let's create a new color group. We're going to call this group the Orchid Clinic Flyer. Say OK. Notice that this will give us a little folder at the bottom of our swatches panel, and any swatches we had selected are now kind of put inside of that folder. We want to be able to add other swatches to it as well. So I'm going to click on this first swatch at the top, hold down the Shift key, and click on the last little pink swatch. You can then click and drag it until it's inside of the folder. And if you're missing any other ones, you can highlight those and drag those into the folder as well too. From here, this little swatch folder makes it much more easy to manage all the ones that we've been working with. Now that we're done with our document, let's go up to File and save it one last time and upload this InDesign document to the class page.